I would like to welcome everyone to the 49th episode of Money Trees. It's tax day, so we have a special money episode of Money Trees. Today's guest is here to provide some crypto cloth talk. An extremely savvy and accomplished investor, founder of the Full Return Club, and one of the leading minds at 40 Acres DAO. Ten is here. How are you feeling today, G?
I'm feeling pretty good, man. Yeah, it's pretty crazy that I was just listening to those lyrics on that song. Like, it's kind of weird, like when like rap music, like kind of really actually relates to life. Only for the fact that I don't like Drake, but I'm like, damn, that song hits.
Yo, the first joint I had playing was 50's I Get Money. And then I was like, no, we got to let that go into Money in the Grave. I knew that we had this tax day episode coming up. And when I was thinking about, like, damn, who in the space really has that energy where you talk about shit that is real? And like you said with rap lyrics relating, to me, it's rare that when a lot of crypto folks talk about money, it relates to me because I feel like a lot of people got in super early and are playing with house money, and they be deleting tweets their when their predictions go wrong and all of that. And for you, everything I've heard you say has come from a place not of superiority, but I don't even know if I'm using this correctly, but I want to say like actuality, where you speak about what's going on in your day to day, what you're seeing, and the way that you feel like it can benefit your people. And so
Oh yeah,
I love that, G. I love that. You know, it aligns with a lot of the missions at 40 Acres. I felt enlightened talking to you about many things DeFi, crypto, trading related. So before we even get started, I want to thank you for taking the time to come share your wealth of information on here.
no, I appreciate you guys for like actually just coming to me and asking for this stuff. I was probably just gonna play video games and trade today. You know what I mean? But the fact that you guys really look at me in that light is pretty cool. I didn't realize I'm hitting that hard in the streets. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, you definitely
But
are.
I
And
really do. I do love the love though, and I love 40 Acres to be honest. They're really going crazy as far as like educating the youth, educating just people in general because it's such a weird. I won't say weird space because I feel like that's an overused word, but like just when you bring up the word crypto and then you like get into the elbow deep part of it, there's like a huge fog that people don't want to go through, and you guys really do make it more or less of a kind of like going on YouTube and just understanding it in a really, really simple to use manner. I really do like appreciate that.
yeah, we got to remove some of that fog. And I mean, weird is overused, but I say cliches become cliches because a lot of them are true. Like shit is weird. Shit
Yeah.
can be very, very strange. And I actually want to ask you about something to me that isn't necessarily strange to me because at this point I can expect it. But I've seen a lot of people surprised at what's going on right now with Moonbirds. Have you been keeping up with that at all?
All right. So TBH is going to be a funny little part of the story. That Steam Deck from Valve just came out recently. Well, not just came out. It just started shipping. I had pre-ordered one last year. Ever since that thing touched down in my house, I have not been on Twitter. Like I've just been there randomly, casually tweeting things, and then like I go back to playing video games for like 16 hours a day. But tell me about this Moonbird stuff. I'm interested. I feel like it's going to be a very unique rug.
Yo, so okay. That there seems to be there's like two divisive camps right now where it's like people are either completely all for it or think it's a rug, think it's gonna end up like Pixelmon or whatever that one was, not whatever, but with that video game raise was. To me, I was already priced out because I'm not spending 2.5 ETH on a bird or any just
That was
2.5 at mint.
oh, all right. That's red
On a
flag number one.
on a 10K collection, I'm 99% sure it's 10K. I'm sure somebody will hear this and can correct me later because I wasn't very hip to it, right? And so I've been seeing a lot that's going on. Like I didn't know about it until after the raffle was announced. And I felt like, damn, like I completely missed this. But I had heard of Proof. And I know that Proof Collective, they have their own previous drops that have really high floors, and they're VC backed. And so knowing that they're VC backed makes me go like, okay, this isn't your standard just PFP project. This is something a little bit different. And I won't even say a little bit different. This is something that's very different, very outside of our norm, that we've been seeing in the space to date.
Mm-hmm.
So Moonbirds drops. You have to register for it's like a raffle, and they had whatever their checks were to make sure that it was legitimate users. I
So it
haven't
was
seen any
KYC.
reports. Oh
There's
no, what's up?
it was a KYC raffle.
I actually don't. I don't believe the raffle was KYC. I believe it was just wallets, and I believe it was like wallets couldn't be brand new, and you couldn't have one wallet funding 20, or else you would see that it was like you
Okay.
could see that it was botted that way or whatever. So I'm not sure on their specifications of how they pick the raffle winners. So anyway, there's 10,000 NFTs available for 2.5 ETH each. And I was just like, yo, this is nuts. And then I
This is
started
feeling
thinking
very
about it.
Decaverse like, but I haven't unfollowed any of my crypto accounts that I follow on Twitter. So the fact that I'm hearing about this now, post launch, and it made this much money, is kind of sus.
Yo, okay, so stay with me, because on one hand, maybe, but on the other hand, the volume's been insane. The volume as of last night was like I think like 150 million traded in USD. And we can actually even just go look on the official let me pull that up now, go see what's going on the OpenSea. It's currently at 70,000 ETH in volume.
What the fuck?
So, oh man, what is that the equivalent of? 210
Everything's
mil,
psyop
right?
right here. This is a lot of psyop going on in the space.
Yo, so okay, so yes, I hope this doesn't take up the entire episode, but even if it does, fuck it, whatever. Because it's very current, right? And when we think about like Bored Ape, that's been explored to death, and there's so many thoughts. I'm very interested to see what happens when the land sale happens. But anyway, I digress. They're at 70 million in volume traded with a 19 ETH floor currently. So if you manage to get that initial piece at 2.5, you have already almost 7x your investment. So nuts even thinking about that. So anyway, boom, we see this. I'm seeing all the people like, yo, this isn't what the space stands for. Yo, this is going to be a rug, blah, 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 blah. But then I'm looking at some of their VC backing, and I'm like,
It's not a
isn't
rush.
this isn't this just a way to raise money or to potentially recirculate money? Because that's what they've created millions of dollars in liquidity damn near overnight and did it through PFPs. And now if you hold a Moonbird, you're essentially a shareholder. And it's a lot of these concepts that we've been exploring in the NFT space with small acts and with small artists. And I'm like, damn, are people just against this because
It's
it's
not their
the
bag.
well, and that part of me thinks that, right? Where it's like the ethos of this is kind of what we've been talking about, but the problem is it's the already big people coming in and doing it. And to me, I feel like, well, that's a little inevitable. So I've been
I
talking a
mean,
bunch, just kind of catching you up with it.
oh
You
yeah,
please share from the little bit of information I've said to you. Ask me any questions. I can like look it up real quick if you're not
you're
already
good. You're good.
searching through. But yeah, tell me what's your take on a 10K project minting at 2.5 and doing 70,000 ETH of volume in the
It's a
first,
trap.
what, like
I
two
don't want to
days
say
it's been
it's a
out?
trap. All right, I'm not gonna say it's a trap. It's not a trap. I'm also not gonna say that it's not a real project because it's pretty much a real project at this point. It's VC backed. I guess people are mad because it's VC backed and it's not from the ground up. But like, there's so many fucking billionaires like in the crypto space that are illiquid and they just want an out. So they're gonna create any type of way to get an out possible. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That's kind of why I had to take a break from the NFT space in a way. Like, I feel like there's a lot of virtue signaling going on, and it gets deeper to the point where it's like, this is not what the NFT space is about. We're not supposed to have VCs backing NFTs. We're supposed to sell to VCs, blah, 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 blah. But, like, I don't know, man. Lil Uzi dropped a project, and his shit was 3 ETH at Mint, and he rugged. Or not 3 ETH, it was 3 Sol, because it was on Solana. But he still rugged. You know what I mean? And there's like a bazillion projects out here that go on fucking Cameo and hire a celebrity to get that liquidity. You know what I mean? Like, you can't be mad about the tools of psyop. They're just doing what they know best. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a part of the game. I think the NFT space has gotten very PvP, where there's like a lot of like um, there are builders in the space, right? But then at the same time, there's people that are just trying to, get projects off, catch a bag real quick, stack up on some coins. And there's no shame in the game, but you can't be like one of those guys calling out another one of those guys, or like you can't be like an NFT artist calling out another NFT artist just because they want to do something a little different. It's like it's all fair in the game, right?
That's where I'm at with it. Where I think for me, it's like you can't hate the player. You got to hate the game. And if you're playing the game, you really can't be upset at it.
The way
Like
that
you
I
said,
see
it's
it,
not their bag.
the way that I see it, my NFT, the one that I have right now, this is a dead project from like years ago, right? And I had bought this just because I didn't really know anything about NFTs. I didn't really look to make money on it. I was just like, all right, this is new tech. I want to see what this stuff does. How do I buy an NFT? Bought it, and it was cool. It represented me. I kept going with my life. I think people are that are worried, and they create these situations of like, yo, you're not supposed to do this. They're looking for monetary gain, and that's it's so like transparent that it's like that's kind of what makes me ignore like the NFT space. Like, usually if they're complaining about something, it's usually because they can't sell their item, and if they can't sell their item, it's because they're looking for like, I don't know, you know what I mean? They're literally looking to make money from that project. And I'm not going to be like one of the bad guys, but like I don't really consider NFT trading like a real thing. I think of it like very advanced bag holding. Like, it's like very cool hot potato or lottery tickets, right? Like, the chances of you making money compared to just holding your ETH over a 5 year span, it's the margin is like really really crazy. It's really slim. So let's say like ETH is like, it's not 100% guaranteed, but let's give it a 90% chance of it going up 5x, right, in the next 5 years. And let's say that one ETH you spend, you have a chance of buying 10 projects. One of those 10 projects is actually gonna go to that 19 ETH floor, right? Can you mentally hold that, or can you handle if your NFT floor drops, or it goes from 1 ETH to 4 ETH to zero point 0.2 ETH, and then it rockets to 9 ETH? Can you handle that zero point 0.2 ETH drop? Will you handle capitulation? You know what I mean? Will you feel bad that you didn't hold your ETH?
Yo, nah, that's real shit, man. I think that to your point that it's not real, but I love that analogy of advanced hot potato because that's really what it feels like where there's so many projects and one thing that you really put me on the game with, and I don't think it's too much. Like it's funny when I was going through this episode, I'm like, all right, this is gonna be recorded, this will be shared, so what is off limits, right? And for
Oh
anyone
yeah,
that's wondering, I don't know. I don't know how to differentiate to you what's on and off limits. What's off
that's
limits won't be discussed.
the Alex Jones of crypto, man. Augustus, like everything's a scam, but it's okay though, because like you're not gonna go to jail. You're good. It's just you got to be smart in this space.
Well, you put me on to group chats and the value that group chats have. And so you don't have to speak on any specific one or anything along those lines, but
But yeah, like,
explain to the people what goes on in these group chats.
dude, so like, Discord is like, I don't know if the internet was a country. Discord is fucking Texas, right? Like, it's just big as shit, and everyone's there. And ideally, it's its own little galaxy, especially for crypto, because comparative to a lot of other niche like uh, hobbies or financial structures or whatever, crypto isn't that big, and the culture around it isn't that big as well. That's why you have NFTs. Me and Khufu being in here for years, and people are just finding out about them now. Is a very niche subject. So like mainly a lot of these group chats on Discord, or these little servers that you join and you meet with these random people. They're programmers, they're investors, they're just random people with money who just want to find the next quick bag. And it's like a melting pot of degeneracy and high level information. Like you can find a college dropout and an MIT graduate literally in the same space talking about anime, and it's really chaotic. But there's a lot of money to be made, and if you're too naive, there's a lot of money to be lost. You know what I mean? But granted, if you're able to like move around these spaces with a little bit of like cognizance, you'll be able to make like a lot of money. You'll learn a lot of things. Like I kind of learned how to build these NFTs through these group chats and understand what type of coins were even coins and what is the blockchain in general. You know what I mean? Like 40 Acres, for example, is like one of the best group chats, but it's not really a group chat. It's like a community server with a couple hundred people in there, and it's great. They always say good morning, good night, and they're always dropping like really, really good information. You know what I mean? Just things that are just out of the blue. You might just hop in and learn how to program a couple of new coins, or learn what a type of protocol can do for you, or what can it do for a new community, or anything in general. You know what I mean? Just the idea of just collective like education is like pretty life changing. I feel like in the past like 5 years now. You know what I mean?
Yo, I appreciate you shedding light on that. I will say 40 Acres much more of a community than, because when I think of the group chats, I think of these like mini rich syndicates where you got a couple people who get together
Oh,
and
you talking about the
agree.
Illuminati?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah,
oh
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That was the
Oh, okay. So yeah, you got these. So this is the deeper side of the psyop. I'll break it down for the NFTs. It might be a little bit easier to understand that way. So let's say there's like five people that are in a group chat, right? They've all made millions of dollars just making, pumping, and dumping shit coins. Just pure shit coins like Shiba, Inu, Elon, Dick, whatever the fuck. And it goes to like $4, then it goes straight to zero. And they do that like about a billion times. And they're like, all right, we're done with shit coins. Let's go to NFTs. So ideally these dudes are they're bad actors. Ideally, like they pretend to be somebody that they're not, and they create these projects, get them very hyped, and then pump, dump, and disappear. You know what I mean? But to the effect of like it spans in all types of ranges. So for NFTs, you'll have like one group chat that's behind 40 different NFTs, and all NFTs sell in like 5 minutes. So they're all making like 10 million per drop on each NFT. Rug or not, they're making a 10M play each time. But let's say you're like deep into the coin space, right? Like you want to buy and sell coins, and you're into altcoins. There's literal whales per se that will pump and dump coins or damage other people's projects to make sure that their project stands out. I won't go into like a lot of detail about how many like there are, but pretty much every large every large token, anything that's successful in crypto, has a cabal behind it, no matter what. Even to the largest of largest, like Sam Bankman-Friedman and like the Coinbase people. I'll give you an even crazier factoid. The people that are behind Coinbase, I think there's some of the writers there. They normally drop a newsletter of like what's some of the best coins to buy. Months before they drop that newsletter, they're buying hundreds of millions of dollars worth of that coin. Then they drop that newsletter on you guys. So they're already pumping it. They're already in that coin before you even start buying it. Months before. No one even knows. But then when you guys buy, the coin goes up, number goes up, but then it starts dumping hundreds of dollars. How is that happening? It's because of the whales, the cabals, the Illuminati. It's all crypto's a weird space, right? Like it's very free and self wealth and creating your own freedom. Like you can make a lot of money here, right? But the freedom in which you can make money becomes very like limited because there's so many people doing it so many different ways. So you might simply be thinking, all right, I can buy and sell my Bitcoin, but there's some dude plotting to sell $100 million worth of Bitcoin at the price that you're buying in at. You know what I mean? Or there's some dude who's pumping an NFT to 19 ETH as the floor price, and then some company is like FOMOing in, and then the floor price drops to 2 ETH because nobody can afford it. You know what I mean? Like things like that happen all the time in the space, and it's not as decentralized as people like to think. But you gotta pick your battles in this space, if that makes sense. More so, pick your
Whew,
battles. So
whew.
about that.
Game, G. And so if Money Trees were on 49, if we don't make it to 50, you know why. They heard this episode. Nah. all jokes aside, the liquidity has to come from somewhere.
And
And
also,
that's the one thing that I try to highlight to people where it's like, yo, this isn't just some this isn't like some unlimited money pit where you can just go upload your thing as an NFT, your art, and say, here, now give me all of this money. You're like, yo, it's now worth all of this bread. There's so much that goes into these valuations. And it's also not a new thing. Like, how many companies have had insane valuations with nothing to actually show for it? Where were these numbers coming from? Like, who were the ones cooking up this bag to then dump it on you later after they had already made their killing? It's a tale as old as time. Well, not as old as time, but as old as markets. And yeah, I don't really have much to add on it. I'm not. I was watching a Ray Dalio video earlier, and I don't know what people's sentiment is on him, but to me, it was pretty interesting on the markets and just talking about how history repeats itself. And I'm sure we can go and find exact example. We don't even have to look too far, really, to look at some of these NFT pumps. I was just talking about the ICO bust that happened with D Nice, who's in the audience now, literally on the last episode. And so history repeats itself, and I think that we're seeing a lot of bad actors but also a lot of good actors. And I'm excited about the future of the space as a whole because, to your point, played correctly, there is some real wealth to be established amongst
100%.
all of the fugazi. So I'd
It's a,
actually like to talk to you. Oh no, what's up?
oh, my bad. It's a weird space. I think with the VCs, it's such a gray area, right? Like VCs really don't care about money. So they might want to build something that exists that doesn't exist right now. So I can't be like yes or no. It's just a very weird space, and there's a lot of people trying to get a bag, and that's going to get some people hurt. But there are going to be people that win. It's a weird space. I don't know. I
How
think
do we provide a foundation for our people that are seeing information, whether it's NFT or crypto related in the space, to have like a good entry point, right? It's like, where can we start providing that digital and financial literacy in crypto?
mm, all right, I got a good one. Boom. I told this it's a hot take that people don't really like, but it deep like crypto is like, how do I explain it? On a risk level, it's like 100% the highest level of risk. Like it's top there outside of selling crack, right? So when you're putting your money into crypto, just imagine it going straight to zero, right? Just automatically, just straight to zero. And when you're buying NFTs, that shit is going triple cardboard. Like, you can't look at it as an investment. This cannot be a money thing for you. Like, completely. Like, you have to look at all of your investments. And this just goes for the entire scope of just buying and selling items. The whole thesis is this has to be something that's realistic to you, right? Can this be something that exists in your real reality? Is this something that will, benefit or improve some type of quality of life in your like financial structure? Like, I'm not saying to buy like a Coca-Cola NFT or like a real estate deed that's just on the blockchain, but look into companies that are actually trying to, you know what I mean, like do things that actually have real work and tech already existing. Don't buy the vaporware, if that makes sense, because that's too much of a risk, if that makes sense. And then at the same time, how would I explain it? For crypto, for people entering crypto, I feel like a lot of people are entering through NFTs, and that's like a really terrible way to like start crypto, honestly. Like, I feel like they should just start buying and selling, or not buying and selling, but just buying and holding like the coins, you know what I mean? And then possibly learning about like making the coin or the crypto. Hop into like a bartering type of situation if that makes sense. Try to like get into the manner of just maintaining your Ethereum or your Bitcoin, whatever main chain that you're on. Try to keep it as the end goal, like stacking that asset completely. So if you're hopping into the buying and selling of NFTs, make sure that you're always pulling out. Make sure you can always get out and never try to stay in. Don't try to keep gambling that shit. You know what I mean?
You
And
can't lose taking profits. But yeah, keep going.
you know, who's taking profits for sure. I don't know. I'm just one of those super coin holder dudes, man. Like I'm. It sounds weird. I'm just gonna tell people like buy, sell, and then like hold your assets because it's gonna go up more.
Yeah, the set it and forget it mentality. And it's, it's easy to say in hindsight, like, oh, we could have made this much if we would have invested in Bitcoin in this year. But you'll be saying the same thing to yourself 8 years from now if you don't do it now. And I think that that's been one of my biggest takeaways is I look back at my Coinbase account from, what was it, 2014, when I had multiple Bitcoin. And I look like, oh man, I could have just blah, 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 whatever, whatever, and just let it sit. And now I'd have whatever. But I know that I'd be saying the same thing to myself in 2030 if I look and see Bitcoin's at 1 million, or I see ETH is at 60, 70, $100,000. And while it can't always go up, to your point of if you treat your crypto investments like they automatically go to zero, then you don't have much to lose anyway. If you do your research and you find a chain that you believe in, whether it's the builders or you believe in the financial backers behind it, or you just look at a lot of what's going on in the media, like there's so many people invested in Bitcoin and Ethereum. Again, not that it can't fail, but it's very, very, very unlikely at this point that it drops below any sort of to any meaningful, I guess, to say number. And I'm sure there's financial experts that can disagree and say whatever, but I just don't see it. The train has left the station. There's
Oh
so
yeah,
many use cases coming up, and buying into it right now, pretend that money's at zero, and either you'll be right in 10 years or you'll be very happy that you're wrong. And
the way
so
that I see it. Oh my bad.
no, you're good. Jesus, about you. Please keep going. Please keep going.
Like I made a lot of my wealth during like the COVID crash and shit, right? And I graduated in 2015. I had a chance to buy ETH at like $70. I never did. And then I actually started buying ETH during the COVID crash. And I was like, all right, cool. This is the smart time to do it. You know, we're fighting whatever the fuck. This is the chance. You know what I mean? Like, inflation is going to go insane. And we're 2 years into this. We're looking at a recession or whatever the fuck they might try to play this into. I don't really believe it's a full recession. I think they're going to give this like a little 6 month drop and then send us to God. But even with Ethereum and stuff like that, if you go from 3K to 50K in one coin, your whole life has changed, right? Like that's a whole new level of just like wealth that you can just hold on to. Life gets a lot easier after you have your first 25K, like 25K, just saving, you know what I mean? Like after that. And then once you start having like major disposable income, like shit that you really don't care about going to zero, the question about NFTs doesn't even really matter. You could literally buy a Bored Ape and at 250K and just be like, all right, I don't care. It's a Bored Ape. You know what I mean? But at that same time, you understand that it doesn't go to zero. You know what I mean? You just have to play within your own risk management with all of this stuff, like 100%. And you got to know what you're risking. Like, it's like, I'm giving away my gold for a picture that could be worth something right now. Maybe in 5 years, not so much, but I know my gold will be worth more in 5 years. But whatever, like I want this picture. So with that, you just got to be cool with whatever your purchases are. And at the same time, for the tax shit, because it is tax day, you know what I'm saying? I just hit my accountant up. The whole plan is to lower your real like maintenance cost, right? Like if you're under the 100K tax bracket, this is how you play. You want to literally stay under like $2,000 to $3,000 a month in expenses, maybe lower than that, until you're at 100K, and then you can start to like expand a little bit. You want to keep your cars and your expenses like maybe 5 to 10% of what your net worth actually is. You don't really want to upgrade until 2 or 3 times that. You know what I mean? On top of that, once you start like bubbling up past 100K, you drop an LLC and you start not necessarily living inside the LLC, but you kind of make sure that you pay yourself less than 100K so that your taxes for yourself are way low, and it'll kind of balance out with everything. And then on top of that, take 10 to 30% of your profits from your business and put it into crypto and keep it there. Hold that shit to zero. Literally hold it to zero. Just micro strategy it, literally. In 10 years, you'll thank yourself. You know what I mean? I started doing that in 2019 with my business, and I've just been holding it against what I've been making. And sometimes, like January, February, March, April, May, I might be a little bit low on the inflow of my company, but the crypto actually, like, you know what I mean, supplements it. I put it in a little staking farm and I just keep it bubbling up. Those compounds actually matter and they hit. Um,
Yo, I think that actually crazy aligns with my own beliefs. I read the book The Richest Man in Babylon, short book, and it teaches such a simple lesson, but it really hits home for me. And you said that 10 to 30%. For me, I don't even treat it as profits. Where if the book teaches you essentially like you can live with 10% less than what you make, right? So let's say you're making 100K, you can live off of 90K and barely notice the difference.
mhm.
And if you save that 10K and let it compound year over end or year over year, you're going to have a very, very comfortable nest egg 10, 15, 20 years into the future. And for me, I was like, okay, I can dramatically decrease my expenses and increase that number from 10 to the 30% that you mentioned. For me, the way I look at it is I break that into three different pools, right? I have 10% that I put into crypto. I have 10% that I put into quote unquote classic. And to me, classic is, regular stocks. That'll be my regular brokerages and my
Yeah.
Tesla, my Apple, the companies that I use on the daily that I have high conviction in them lasting for years and bringing me a return. And then my last 10% is what I call culture. And so I had written that article around the idea of cultural investing. And I know that that's been a term that's loosely been floated around. But to me, cultural investing is NFTs, it's people, it's, into royalty exchanges, it's into things that are a little bit off of the beaten path. Like crypto to me is cryptocurrencies, which is pretty much just ETH, Bitcoin, a little Solana at this point. And again, this is, what do we say? This is financial advice. Follow it if you want to follow our pockets. I don't know. Are we allowed to say that? I feel like saying not financial advice doesn't do shit anyway. I'm
I
not
feel
telling you how to go do this. I'm just telling you what the fuck I'm doing.
I
Anyway,
feel
that's my crypto. Like when I consider crypto, I consider it the actual currencies. To me, NFTs fall under the culture bucket, where it's like, okay, what's moving culturally that makes sense? Okay, how can I invest in this artist in some long term, meaningful way that could potentially bring a return? And so 30% of every dollar that I get disappears in my mind. It goes to one of those three things and then it doesn't exist. And I'm forced to operate off of the other 70%. And I can say that I already start to see some of the effects, but I genuinely feel like 10 years from now, I'll be very happy that I've been doing this for as long as I had.
what I've been doing. I don't even know if I can call it like, I'll just say active investing, right, with stocks, because I want to say that I'm buying and just holding the majors on crypto, but with stocks, I'm more so just using that as a vehicle to make money. Like I don't even care about what these companies do in real life. Like I don't care about Tesla or Apple, but if they move for $30 in a month, I'll be there and I'll take that move. I'll just make that money and then I'll go right back to cash. Like I'm not saying dollar is king. I just know that I like seeing those numbers in my account.
Nah,
But
that's real, G. I'll tell you what. So this was my experience with day trading. Saw GameStop happen. This was actually kind of like really when I got into
oh
NFTs
no,
too.
not the GameStop.
Yo, I was like, how the fuck did I miss GameStop? Like, I had my Robinhood account, and that was my basic, whatever for 19. 2020 was ill, invested in Dogecoin off of TikTok in the summer and watched that go crazy. Bought Tesla at the fucking COVID crash when it hit. It hit, what was that? It was like, I want to say I know what my strike price was, but I'm pretty sure it touched like sub 300, and this is
Mm,
pre-split. Like
that's
Tesla was
crazy.
so low, and you
That
can
was
look
a
at it on
movie.
the chart, and
That was a movie.
nah, hold on, like
No,
Tesla,
I saw
Doge,
that, and I was too pussy to take that trade. I'm not gonna lie to you.
that
That
covered
shit
my
was
whole account
scary.
because I'm not a trader, but that Tesla, that was it. And so I see GameStop happen, and then a little FOMO kicks in, but I'm like, all right, let me learn it, just see what's up. Now I'm on Stonks. I joined my first stock group chat, was on the Discord, literally had trading view, the day trade shit going on. And then I was like, oh, hold on, what is this? Like, I can only do so many same day trades. Man, let me fund my account. Let me get over the day trade limit so I can day trade the
Yeah.
way that I want. Niggas skipped paper trading. That was my issue right there.
Oh yeah,
Because
you had to go talk to Jesus real quick.
yo, a quick talk to Jesus
It's all
moment.
right, man. Me and Jesus had a lot of conversations, man. You know what I'm
I'm
saying? Yeah.
yo, those mornings, and it was crazy because I was up the first like couple of days being able to day trade, and now you feel like you got it. Now you feel like you got the
Yeah.
golden touch. Now
Like this
you're
shit
looking at the
easy.
group chat, like, yeah, oh, every call out. I'm not even doing research. I'm just hitting whatever they calling out in the group chat. Then I'm like, you know
All in.
what? Let me start doing options. And I'll tell you what.
Yeah, that option
Woohoo.
shit.
Yo, that was a quick way to not be able to day trade anymore. And so man's learned his lesson there. And it was like, I respect it. I respect the active traders. I couldn't
This
do
is
it.
this is how I knew trading was for me, right? And and I literally with the Full Return Club, we teach people like from zero how to like trade. I don't want to say the correct way, but I want to say with more reserve than like the normal person, right? So what we did was, or more so, it's based on my strategy, right? Like I hate being late. So when I saw GameStop, my algos picked it up at like $4, and they were like, "Yo, this shit's going to $30 by the end of the week." And like it was literally at $4. I was like, "What the fuck? Like I'm not wasting my money on my hard-earned money on this shit. Fuck GameStop." And then we watched those contracts go from $200 to like six figures in a week, and then like I just my head started hurting. So I was like, I'm never gonna be late again. So I just started like building a different type of algo set so that it was like, all right, for under the same conditions, not necessarily GameStop, because it's very few stocks that will be able to do that same type of performance, but for just a strategy that could be able to catch something at very low prices or very high prices, and anytime a market order sell or buy from like a hedge fund is putting in at that very second, I want to see it. You know what I mean? Like I don't care what the price is, unless if it's under 100K. Normally I look at things over like 500 to a million, but those trades normally have more success. So from that point on, I started catching these trades a little bit earlier in that same manner where you're like, like I'm like, oh shit, like all right, we're hitting, my emotions are getting into play, and I was playing with a lot more money. There was a time where it was like I created this thing called a sprint, right? Where I was just hitting these trades after like 3 months. I was like, all right, I want to see at what point does my bot break, right? So, like, at what point can I constantly compound this money? And when does the trade fail? Like, if I buy $1 million worth of this option, will it go to zero? Can I even get to $1 million? And that shit didn't break. It still hasn't broken yet. I'm kind of afraid, but I had to let off the gas though. Like my mental just couldn't handle that for a little bit. You know what I mean?
I
And
get it.
it's a lot of discipline that comes with like just trading in general. And I realized like teaching people, not necessarily it feels like babysitting them, but it's like it's deeper than trading. Like some people just aren't used to making that amount of money. You know what I mean? So their thought process really gets in the way. You got to be almost like a psychotic person to just, keep taking those trades. You know what I mean?
Nah, I do, G. So, yeah, I do. That's a lesson that I learned, and I think I'm a different type of crazy. That wasn't the crazy that I was built for. So I
No, you
respect
can
it.
do it. You can do
You
it.
say
You can do it. Listen, listen. People, I look at bodybuilders like they're fucking insane. I treat the stock market like this is the NBA, right? Same thing with crypto. Like this shit is the NBA, man. You can ball out in here. You feel me? You just gotta play by the rules. You can't force too many things. You can't travel. You know what I'm saying? You can't try to take shots from the half court and the other side of the, what I'm saying, the court. You can't do that. Just take the easy layups when you know you can take the easy layups. Pass the ball when you pass the ball. 30% profit is not bad. Even when you're in crypto and you're making 30% profit, it's not bad, man. Like, take that. Hop
as
back
long
in
as you
it.
keep profiting, you all right. That's the whole thing. Is like is you start getting greedy, and that's when them losses hit.
Oh, yeah, every time. You know what I'm saying? When you're up on an NFT, like, and you buy it for one, or if you buy an NFT for point 0.1 ETH, and somebody is trying to buy that shit for 2 and the floor is 5, and you're being cocky, and you're like, nah, the floor is 5 ETH, I know my worth. Nigga, if you don't take that fucking 2 ETH and go home, I sometimes,
Because
bro,
you're gonna be way sicker than if it goes up as opposed to if it goes down. Because you'll miss
I be
out, and
seeing
I
these
see it. I see
I
it.
be seeing these folks on these NFT spaces. My shit's worth 40 ETH pre-reveal, bro. I'm a hold because I know what I'm worth, and I literally had to just take a step back. I had to go back to stocks. I was like, this is not for me. It's literally I'm talking to 14-year-olds on these spaces, man. There's no way I can't do this.
And yo, just a lot of it is smoke and mirrors because the people will be like, the ones that are saying like, "Yo, I'm not gonna sell. I'm not gonna sell." Probably the first ones selling from the wallets that aren't linked to their name.
Man,
It's like, yo, they'll have the NFT on the public one for their influence, and mind you, they'll have 8 wallets they control that are all gonna dump, and then it won't matter whether or not they lose on the ones that they held out of conviction. But again, it's not all like that. There's just you got to be able to decipher through it, and it's an interesting game.
it's and that's what makes me really apprehensive to like being like, yo, my people can really get into the space. They, like the fact that we got multiple wallets and we got to track all this shit. Normal people aren't gonna do that. You know what I mean? Like, and I
Yeah,
understand Coinbase is trying to make it a little bit better by like trying to create these platforms so it's less of an issue, but it's always gonna be an issue. Like this is literally JPEGs. Like it's kind of insane that we got this far this fast. It's really scaring me. I'm here. I'm having fun. You know what I'm saying? I'm like Jay-Z, like outside shaking his head, but I'm looking up like I don't know. Like
yo, man, it's crazy because I had like I guess to say some planned questions, quote unquote, but this was really a chop up, and you shared some fire information. We were able to touch on most of the points that I had wanted to get to through directly or indirect or through direct or indirect means. There's 2 questions I ask everyone before I let them get out of here. I actually am highly intrigued. I mean, I normally am intrigued anyway. This is a tangent. I don't think I tangent too much this episode, but when I say certain things about guests, it's like I never want other guests to feel like, oh no, he's not talking about me. It's just that in Ten's case, based off of where his mind goes and the way that he looks at this space, the idea of a seed phrase in his case is really, really interesting to me because I'm trying to figure out what are the tenets that this trader lives by. So, anyway, it's a little bit of a precursor. But my question is always about what is your seed phrase? Or my question always is, what is your seed phrase? And now we've repurposed seed phrase on the show to be a saying, a quote, slogan, motto, lyric that you live by that embodies your approach to your career, to your craft. So, 10, what is your seed phrase?
The only thing that should be up only is your bank account.
See? There it is, G. I love that. My second question, what is the price of the one of one Money Trees number 49 note going to be listed as?
Ooh, dang. I don't know. All right, cool. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna show wild love. I paid $60 for this NFT on my face. So that was like $30 plus 30 gas. Let's just slap it with $30, 30 gas. Or $30.
I can't control the gas now, G. Let
Yeah,
me
my
stop.
bad. But yeah, when I paid for mine, I paid $30 and then I had to pay 30 gas. But yeah, you can do 30 or 60 or whatever. I just, you know what I'm saying? I want to make it approachable, kind of, because I'm not the type of dude that's going to buy like a 5 ETH picture from anybody. I don't want to be an asshole like that. And I don't expect like people to profit off my face either. But I will say that owning that NFT, you are a person that believes that anybody can make money, or not just make money. Like, I'll just say it like this. Like, I ended up making a lot of wealth in like the past 5 years, and it desensitized me in a very like weird way. And it's not like, oh, I'm really rich right now. I look at it as in, this happened so fast, and all it took was just the switch of a thought. I used to work at like minimum wage jobs like KFC and Payway and Domino's. And my track of thought was very negative. I wasn't really a positive person. I was doing really wrong things and just being distracted in general. But the moment I actually believed in myself and started applying the lessons and things that I was reading into like actual action, my life literally 180'd and I just completely went up. So I don't know. You can start from something small and turn big, I guess. That's what you can take from that whenever you buy that NFT. You know what I mean?
Yo, G, I definitely do. It's also very symbolic that you got the KFC CryptoPunk meme with that one, knowing that that has some real origins in your life.
Oh yeah,
And
man.
I want
One
to
of the
thank
reasons
you for
I
coming
bought
through.
it.
Oh, my fault, my fault. Yo,
Wait,
Twitter,
no, you're
Twitter
good.
has us on the delay right now. What happened?
No, my bad. You're good. But thanks for having me, man. I apologize if I kept drawing it into other new things and stuff.
Nah, fuck out of here. No apologies. This has been it. Like this has been a pure chop up. You know, like it was straight up. What's happening? Where's the mindset at? Kind of sharing what works, doesn't work for both of us, and that was really the impetus behind this show. Was always like. I've had conversations with you on the fringes, you know, somewhere else, and we talked about some dope shit that I would love to put a focus around, talk for 30 minutes to an hour, share that conversation with someone else. So hopefully they pull something from it. And I guarantee there are gems to pull and education to be had to
No,
be from this
100%.
episode.
We're gonna link, man. I need help. I have Ray J on the line and shit and stuff. I'm trying to do some things with full return and him. I kind of have to build a team, you know. So we're gonna definitely link a little bit more later.
There are some plays in the work. That is what Money Trees is all about. And that is a seed that has been planted. And I cannot wait to look back and see how both of us have evolved from this episode, but also the work that we will do in the future. 10
Oh,
again, thank you, thank you for coming through. And shout out to Twitter for delaying us extra on this episode, and me and him keep overlapping each other. But I'll let you close it out, G.
all right, no problem, man. I'll see you.
Peace, peace, peace.